My name is Srđan Spasojević, movie director, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil. I'm joined by Father Corbin, Gene Palubicki.
Hello.
Hey, and writer and director Stephen Biro.
How you doing, Neil?
I'm good, thank you. Of the Song of Solomon, which I absolutely loved, and not just because you guys are on. I really dug the movie the first time I watched it, and as Stephen mentioned on multiple viewings, I like the movie even more.
Yeah, that's part of the trick, because the movie goes actually pretty fast, and the demonic possessed spits out all sorts of information that you don't know actually comes around. And yeah, when you watch it the second time, you catch a lot of things to where it's like, oh, okay, that connects to that connects to this, that. So yeah, so I always tell people to pay attention to the dialogue of the possessed.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, awesome. I'm glad you.
The dialogue.
I'm glad you watched it
between the priests and such too. With each one of the successive priests in the film, the dialogue between the demon and the priests has something to do with each one of the characters of the priests as well. So it's not just the rhetoric of what's going on in the dialogue. It's tied into the characters of each one of the successive priests that are involved in the exorcism in the film, which you pick up on that after seeing it once or twice or more.
Yeah. And even before I knew that that a lot of the movie, or I guess most of the movie, is based in like real exorcism. Like, I just thought the dialogue was very good, and I always think, like, even if you're not aware of certain things like that, it just kind of plays in your mind. It adds like some type of realism to a movie when it's based in some sort of history.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually amazed because I've seen like every exorcism movie, right? And no one has ever pushed the fact that it's a one-on-one between the priest and the demon or demons. And if the priest loses, he doesn't exorcise the woman, he actually is condemned to hell. He loses his soul right then and there. Nobody's ever pushed that. Nobody has ever bothered to actually do any research on exorcisms before making an exorcism movie. Because that's like the main tenet. It's like, and no one has explored that at all. So I'm expecting, once this really hits, because it comes out on the 14th, that people are going to be like, oh, wait, that adds a whole other angle. We're going to do that in our movie. Because everybody just watches The Exorcist and says, okay, we know everything. So yeah, so it was fun. It was fun writing it, researching it, shooting it, and now we get to see what happens as it gets out there.
Yeah, I'm kind of guilty about the exorcism thing because I always kind of go into the exorcism movies thinking I'm not going to really like them because they never live up to the Exorcist for me. But the fact this movie I think is so different, and it isn't just trying to recreate the Exorcist, because I don't think you can really top if you try to redo the Exorcist. There's so much different things in it that it's a great movie.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, we wanted to do something different, and I mean, it's almost as if it's like the third act of The Exorcist throughout the whole movie, really.
Yeah, in a way, right. So, actually, Gene, how did you get involved in the movie? I know you've worked with Stephen before.
Well, I've known Stephen from back in the early 2000s when he had his video store here in Tampa called Video Mayhem. And back at that time was when I first knew him was around the time that he'd begun the Unearthed company with the original Guinea Pig series, the Japanese film. And by and by, he started to talk about an idea of like, oh, maybe someday I'll make my own version of this series or something. Flash forward, what was it, Stephen, about 2013 or 14 when you started making the announcements about the American Guinea Pig. And I saw names that were attached. like James Van Beber, Marcus Cook, and it had been almost a decade since some of the conversations had happened about the idea of doing something like that. So it was a good time to get back in touch with Stephen again after some years of like not really being in contact. And I was like, hey, that sounds really good. That you finally got around to be able to do this, what you were talking about so many years ago. And with the names that were attached, because I was a big fan of some of the stuff that Jim Van Beber had done, like Deadbeat at Dawn, Manson Family, and the short films. So we started chatting, and then at some point in the conversations with Stephen, he hit me up with the idea of maybe making some kind of a promo music video to go with some bonus content on the DVD for the first of the American Guinea Pig series. So we ended up using one of the songs from one of my bands called Perdition Temple, and flash forward going into the following year after the release, and then talk started happening about the second in the series of the American Guinea Pig series, which became Bloodshot. We've been chatting back and forth pretty frequently, and at some point, I don't know what the hell we did. We were out at some show here in Tampa. I don't know, like a Cannibal Corpse show or something. We were on the way driving back, and he hit me up and was like, "Hey, do you want to do a spot in the Bloodshot?" I'm like, "Why not?" And I guess for a lot of people, just to dive into it, they might think, "Oh no, I'm a musician. I'm not into the film thing." But I kind of took it wholeheartedly that, yeah, I'm going to try to do this because, sure, I'm into music. I've been doing music professionally for 20, 25 years now. Mm-hmm. And the truth is I didn't even really start playing music or really studying it until I was in my mid-teens, probably 13 or 14 years old. But horror films, those have owned me since the time I was probably 4 or 5 years old. When I was a kid at home with my parents, seeing movies like Salem's Lot, The Exorcist, and other shit on TV. Mm-hmm. So, that stuff has been as much a part of me as any music that I've ever had any influence on me also. So for taking the step into getting into the film industry activity is not that much of a stretch for me. It doesn't feel like much of a stretch for me. And post Bloodshot, there, conversations continued, and eventually it came around that there was going to be what was supposed to be the final Guinea Pig Stephen, which was going to be the Exorcism film, which was going to be the final Guinea Pig, which was supposed to happen at a much later time, ended up happening a lot sooner because apparently some of the other projects that were going to be part of the Guinea Pig series kind of got sidelined. If I remember that information right, Stephen?
Yeah, you got it on the nail.
Yeah, and then there was a while where Stephen was staying at my place here in Tampa, and he was working on the outline for what was to be this Exorcism Guinea Pig film. We'd sit around and chat about ideas and such, and about characters and whatnot, and eventually it just came, at some point, he's like, okay, we've got this priest that you could do. And we talked about it, and we developed the character, and then he gave me the gig. Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Besides gore, I guess, what is the common theme amongst the Guinea Pig series?
Well, that's the thing. The original Japanese guinea pigs started off as snuff. Mm-hmm. And Hideshi Hino, they did Devil's Experiment first, then Hideshi Hino was on board. He did Flowers of Flesh and Blood, and then he did Mermaid, and then there was a problem with a child murder in Japan, and they blamed the guinea pig movies on it, and so they took it and went into another direction, and they started doing, like Android in Notre Dame was a sci-fi one, He Never Dies is like the comedy one. And then they went, tried to do pure comedy with Devil Doctor Woman. So there's really no theme throughout, all the originals. So there's really no theme without ours. I mean, it's sort of like the Twilight Zone for the Gorehounds,
Sure.
So anything that we do, as long as it's extreme special effects and outrageous, something outrageous, then yeah, that's a part of the guinea pig. It's like if we make it, then it is.
Basically outrageous visuals, outrageous storytelling.
Mm-hmm. No,
and intensity.
Mm-hmm. You have like a built-in audience when you have the American Guinea Pig series on there, and this isn't a knock on any of the other movies, but is it limiting at the same time when you put out a movie that maybe you'd want like maybe people outside of your core audience to see?
Yeah, that's why the American Guinea Pig name is not on the retail release of the Song of Solomon.
Oh, it isn't? Okay. I wasn't aware of that. So.
Nope. Yeah, we actually pulled the American Guinea Pig name off of it. So retailers and websites just know it as the Song of Solomon, but like, some people do know that it's a guinea pig, and others don't. And we're pushing for Redbox. So, we don't want that American Guinea Pig name on there.
Sure. Yeah.
And we just got it into, we just got it into Voodoo, which is pretty cool because they're actually pretty safe, because they're owned by Walmart. So it'll be available on VOD through Voodoo, and we're working on other things. Hopefully it all falls into place.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I should have known that because I had the Blu-ray right here, and it does not say.
Ta-da!
Yeah, right.
I don't even have my Blu-ray yet, Stephen. I don't have shit yet, Stephen.
No,
where's my shit, Stephen?
Stephen didn't send it to me.
I don't have. Yeah, I think it was MVD that sent it to you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because MVD handles Arrow, and they handle us. I haven't even seen the retail versions yet. They should be here. I'm hoping tomorrow. I was thinking they were going to be here today.
All right. It was very cool. I watched an interview with you on the thing, and actually I was surprised because you were saying that you were a Christian, and so how does that play with other Christians? You making extreme horror movies?
Oh, they love it.
Cool.
They love it because it shows that I mean, as a Christian, we're all fuck ups really. None of us are perfect and this and that. So me being able to show that I'm Christian and I'm doing the extreme horror, it makes a lot of people that are Christian that are into horror feel better. They're like, oh, okay, then I'm not, condemned and going to hell or something, because, I've written 3 books. One was Hallucination. That was me trying to find God using massive amounts of LSD and nitrous oxide. Dealt with demons, angels, trip to hell. The book did really, really well, and a lot of Christians that aren't even into horror read it and loved it because they're like, this follows 100% biblical, biblical knowledge and wisdom. They're like, wow, this is amazing. And then I wrote another book called Dialogue with the Devil. And that was me either A, I'm talking to the devil, or if it's my id, because basically, the id and the superego are what some people call God and the devil. So it's either I'm talking to the devil or demon, or I'm talking to my id, but my id knows way too much, and that book scares the hell of a lot of people. And then for the third, this was when I had HBO was actually looking at picking up all 3 of my books to make into a series. It would have been 6 seasons. And the next book I was going to write about the devil wanting to quit his job, so they hired somebody else. And my rep at the time's like, dude, you got to be the devil. You got to be the guy who takes over the devil's job. So in Satan Reborn, I wrote myself out like, I took the devil's job. And that's it's a totally, that one's totally fantasy. But luckily I have a really good readership, and the people who read that book actually scared the hell out of them too. Just because I'm pushing the envelope and trying to make you think about your life, the question, why are you here? What is going on? This and that. So yeah. So I learned a lot of things on the other side. It's interesting. And the books do well. So yeah, so Solomon is my baby because, it's a Christian movie.
On the flip side of that, do you ever get any negativity from horror fans who find out that you're Christian?
Nope, not a single one. They couldn't care less. Yeah, because I don't preach to anybody. I mean, I'll talk to anybody if they want to talk. And the books are not like preachy or anything. Because I've had witches read them. I've had atheists, agnostics. I've even had people turn into, convert to Christianity after reading my books. So that's awesome. I think I converted a witch from what I was told.
Really? That's pretty wild.
So that's cool. Yeah. Because, we don't burn witches anymore. I know, it's a shame. And I always joke. I'm like, dude, you ought to come to church on Thursday. It's Burn the Witch Thursday. It's awesome. We have a barbecue.
So, Gene, what was it like working along with Jessica Cameron? Because there's really intense scenes between you two.
There was a lot of things that I'd learned while on the set during the filming with the scenes with her. Because let's face it. Aside from the smaller part that I had in Bloodshot, and now this more expanded role in Song of Solomon, working with some people that have had a track record of doing a lot of film productions, and watching the ethic and practices that they use to make sure that they're on point with their performances was a real revelation. There was a lot of times during between takes where the cameras would roll. We'd maybe film for 5 or 10 minutes just to get like a single shot, and then it would be maybe another hour, or sometimes a half an hour before they'd reset the cameras and the lighting and all the other shit to make sure that like a repeat or another take of the same shot was ready. And it wasn't like it was smoke break time or anything like that. A lot of times she, as a great example, would get on her cell phone or her laptop, and she wasn't fucking around. She was rehearsing the lines for the next take. So she was constantly working. If she wasn't working on camera, she was preparing for what she was going to do on camera for that next take that was going to be coming up, a half an hour later. So that was really good to experience that with some of the people that have been involved with this stuff much more deeply than I have at this point. And it helped me choose some of the things that I tried to do to prepare for my own parts. There was a time where I must have looked like a madman sitting on the porch of the cabin where the principal filming was done. And I was just sitting there mumbling Latin lines to myself over and over again, probably for 3 or 4 hours straight. Probably only 4 or 5 lines of dialogue, but it wasn't just a matter of learning the words, but it was a matter of learning the words in a foreign language that you don't know shit about, and trying to be able to emote with those words and actually make it sound like something and not just mumbling.
Yeah, not just reading something you remembered. Yeah.
Not just phonetically regurgitating the words, but to actually put some oomph behind what you're doing when you're doing it. So there was a lot of things that I learned on this set that whatever might come down the road next film-wise is going to help me greatly.
But the cool thing is the Latin lines actually have real meaning to them, and unless somebody like actually like records them, and then or somebody that speaks Latin, when they hear it, they're going to be like, "Oh, wait a minute! Oh, that's not cool." No, that's awesome, but hey, that was a fun thing, because Jessica, she really nailed the Latin on the head. Cool thing is like with Google, you can actually pull up Latin and it'll speak it in its exact form.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what so they could learn the Latin and the correct pronunciation and stuff. And Jessica was a beast on set.
Yeah.
Because she was the lead actress, and we put her through hell and back.
Mm-hmm.
As you can imagine, because you've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
And at the end of the night, I've already had people say, "Who's cleaning up all the blood?" It was Jessica. I'm like, "Hey, hon, you don't have to do that. We got, and no. I thought, we're all in this together." And I'm like, "Oh, she's amazing." And the funny thing is there's a huge blood spray that sprayed all over these bamboo curtains. And that took 2 days with a hose to get it cleaned off. Because we rented the house through Airbnb, and it was awesome because there's a pool, there was 2 jacuzzis, which nobody used, and there was a separate cabin where we stuck Marcus Cook and Jeremy Cruz in to have their FX workshop. And they were working consistently while we were shooting. And we shot that in 17 days. And then we did 2 days of pickups. And yeah. I mean, for what we did and the amount of time we did, independently, I think, we did something really, really freaking cool.
Yeah,
and I couldn't have done it without.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't have done it without Gene, Jim, Jessica, Mark. I mean, everybody was wearing multiple hats. So yeah, it was just a really intense shoot.
It was full-scale guerrilla filmmaking. I mean, everybody had to throw in, everywhere that they could. I mean, you couldn't just, sit on the sideline and wait to do your thing. I mean, you had to be ready to help out with any one of the jobs at any time, and you had to watch out for everybody else too, because it was such a mad scramble for everyone that there's a chance that somebody might forget something. Somebody might forget that on a previous take that a certain candle wasn't lit in a scene, and everybody's working so fast that, you need to remember shit like that, so that you can come in and be like, hey, wait a minute, we need to do that because when the camera rolled 20 minutes ago, that wasn't like that. Shit like that. And it comes out, in the desperation of a budgeted production like this, that everybody's got to watch each other's backs.
Mm-hmm. I was Troy's here now, my co-host here, Terrible Troy.
Yes.
Hey, Terrible.
Hello. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Good, really good.
Yeah. Nope. I watched the movie for the first time with Troy's my brother, with our mom, and I don't know, she actually loved the movie, and I don't know how, but she was calling the end of the movie right when we started watching it. I have no idea how.
Oh, did she? She knew what was going to go down?
Yeah, I didn't understand what she was saying at first, so then here I came at the end. I was like, I thought maybe she snuck a view of the movie beforehand or something, because I really don't know how she did that. But so our mom loved the movie as well.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I mean, it's a different movie. I mean, it's a lot more polished than
Song
the first two.
Solomon, an exorcism movie that's even good enough for your mom.
Yeah,
put that into the advertising. Even your mom could come and see it.
All right.
Put that on the case or something.
Our mom might not be the typical mom, but
yeah, that's true. She usually digs that kind of stuff.
All right.
Yeah. My mom's the one who got me into horror.
Yeah, same with me.
When I was 4 years old, when I put my tooth underneath the pillow for the tooth fairy would give me a rubber monster. So
Awesome.
heck with that quarter. Yeah, that's a rubber monster is more than a quarter. Okay, so I got a rubber Frankenstein, a dragon one. So she was like egging me on because she loved horror movies. And yeah, now look at me. Oh my God.
Yeah. Now Steven has no teeth because when he got older, he just would rip them out to get some monsters.
That's right.
My
In
parents-
hopes of getting some more critters.
My
right?
parents in my hometown, when I was 4 years old, when there was still drive-ins, had taken me to a drive-in screening of Texas Chainsaw. And I mean, even though since I was a little child, I probably fell asleep through half of it, I do distinctly remember some of the scenes, sitting in the back seat, damn near falling asleep. But I was there. I was there, and it's still with me, and it's never going to be away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drive-ins you can't beat. I mean, we have great childhood memories of the drive-ins.
Yeah, because Troy is old. And
it was the old school type too, where you just had to drive into the dirt road.
Oh yeah.
And the screen in the field, you like all the jump screens that you'll see nowadays. It was like that, but it was still working at the time.
Yeah.
And eventually it went to hell with all the other ones, but it was there. It was there, and I mean, I guess you had to be from a certain age group to be able to actually experience any of the last gasp of that era. But is what it is. Time.
Well, Gene, you have a drive-in down on Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa.
If it's still open,
there.
but they just play like new first run shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
you're not going to get the gold stuff, no.
No.
Yeah, I used to live in Tampa. Now I live in LA just because the career is like popping.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rough move, but it's cool because out here, everybody likes to have meetings after meetings after meetings. And, I could only do so much when I was in Florida. And it's like, okay, now's the time for, because my business partner, he's the man who will not be named on the credits. Okay. He's out here, and we do a lot of international sales, and we're also a film sales company besides Unearthed. Mm-hmm. We've sold Arrow a bunch of their titles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we sold them Reanimator, Brad the Reanimator, Society, Hills Have Eyes, Brain Damage, blah 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 blah. I could go on. Yeah. We've sold films to everybody else. My partner's been doing this for years, and he didn't want his name spoiled with the American Guinea Pig series. I'll spoil my name with it, Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
So Terrible. Did you see Solomon?
I did indeed. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. I'm just hoping, that it grows, we're pushing it to more mainstream people.
Right.
Just because it's because people always ask, well, what's it like? It's like, well, it's like The Exorcist meets the first Evil Dead in a way.
Yeah,
because there's just all these extreme gore, because Evil Dead was, and people love that.
Yep.
And they loved Hellraiser, the first two. We won't go into the others. And, some, look at Bad Taste.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just incredible to me that Peter Jackson made that with $1.5 million. What the hell? But that was like his roots. And it's just like, I'd kill for a budget like that. But the cool thing is if you're good friends with the effects guys, you can pull a lot of stuff off.
The effects
can't hurt.
Yeah, the effects are great in the movie. I would say especially for a low budget movie, but then some people will think that doesn't mean it's that great. But I think the effects would be great in any movie, really. And it's kind of the best of both worlds because I can like a movie just for the gore and have fun with it, but it's also a good movie. Right. So then you can watch it more than once, and I think it'll appeal to other people, like you said.
Right.
Yeah, that's the hope. the hope is to continue to grow. And, you know, it's like, I mean, wait till Sacrifice hits, American Guinea Pig Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, okay, that goes right back to the first 3 American Guinea Pigs. Yeah, because it's vicious. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's shot amazing. First-time director, Poison Rouge, female director in Italy. She jumped on board with Demiziano Cristofaro, and they did a gorgeous-looking movie. And basically, it almost falls under "He Never Dies" theme, because it's just a guy in a bathroom tearing himself apart for the goddess of Ishtar, and that's the whole movie. So it's like, yeah, I mean, Solomon's got the most story to it. Have either of you guys seen Bloodshot or Bouquet?
I have not.
No, I haven't either.
They're special effects extravaganzas. Bouquet is just really 4 guys pulling apart 2 women for the whole movie. There's a story hidden in there, and usually I've had people like, "Hey, there's a story in here." I'm like, "Yep," and it's like, "Okay, and this," and they hit all the things, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's it exactly." He's like, "Holy crap! It took me 6 watches to figure that out," and I'm like, yes, that's what I try to do as a writer, is put stuff in there to where I'm not spoon feeding you.
Right.
And it makes multiple watches enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And like Bloodshock, it's our devil's experiment in a way, to where a mad doctor is torturing patients in a mental institute, taking their blood while they're getting tortured. And because then it has serotonin in it, endorphins, it's like a concoction, and you can actually get high off the blood. And yeah, and it's a love story. it becomes a love story, and you know, when it happens, it just, I mean, we've had grown men cry in theaters watching it, and they're like, "What the hell, man?" So it's an interesting series that we got going on.
Mm-hmm. I just gotta know, when
So
you
it's
talk
like
about
the Lion King of gore, Neil.
There you go.
Yep.
So when you rented the Airbnb, did they know that like you were gonna make a movie there? Especially like,
I had to. Yeah, I had to pay this woman an extra $1,500.
Oh, okay.
She's like, "Oh, well, you're using it for commercial reasons," and da da da. And this woman, she was greedy, and she tried blaming us for some.
Did that woman that was doing that try to pull some scam, like some insurance scam, over the busted fucking toilet in that place?
Yep.
Septic
tank. Yeah, septic tank blew.
Sign off on some shit.
Yeah. And then she refused to sign the location agreement. Then she changed it into all this craziness, to where my lawyer's like, "Hey, she agreed in the emails, so that's all. Those are legal documents. So you don't need the location agreement." So we're like, "Okay." And she was telling me, "Oh yeah, and let me know, when you're done, because then I can promote the house, that it was in this movie." And I'm like going, "I don't want you to see what we did in that room." and yeah, because I mean, yeah, there is blood everywhere. If what you don't see is like these giant plastic curtains that were on the ceiling and the walls, and every place you walked, you'd hear crunch, 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 sticky, 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 because the blood was everywhere. Because blood continuity.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
What was funny is that Jeremy Cruz, he was hiding under the bed, and one day he had to take 3 showers, 3 separate showers, because he was just getting covered. And then Jessica, well, you've seen the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she had to take 6 different showers just because she was so covered, and it wouldn't come out of her hair. So yeah, so I think, usually with our movies, usually everybody ends up coated in blood, and massive showers are needed.
Right. Gene doesn't have the hair problem anyway to think it. Right. I thought
it's
Gene,
one advantage I had.
Exactly. I wouldn't know you were an inexperienced actor, actually, because I thought you have a lot of presence on
Yeah,
camera.
you're so powerful in that, in your scenes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
He's
and that had a lot
priest.
to do with. That had to do a lot with what I was talking about, watching some of the other people work on set that had some experiences. That you got to take a little bit of time in an actor's position. You need to take a little bit of time to think exactly what it is that the character is, and you got to get into somewhat of a mindset of what that character is going to be, because it's not you. It's not. It ain't like I could just be myself wearing the outfit, and that was going to work. There had to be a little bit of a different demeanor that wasn't me to actually be the proper character for it. Some things a little bit less than me, some things maybe a little bit over the top for me, but not entirely just me. And then that working with the dialogue and such, if you think it through a little bit before you do it, you can convey that, and I hope some of that came off. And if you guys dug it, then I guess maybe it's mission complete.
Oh, it definitely did.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think what Steve was talking about, that a lot of people never put in exorcism movies about, the priest, his soul is at stake here. That really comes across with your character because, actually all the priest characters, but this really seems like you're a troubled guy in the movie, and knowing, that this is at stake, I think it really helps sell that.
Well, yeah, because it plays out a little bit in the story and in some of the dialogue and such. But I mean, the idea of that character is that he's coming from a really, really fucked up background. That his priestly activities are probably the stuff that the church wouldn't want, almost like a CIA of the church type business, to where it's just. Holy missions that they don't want anybody to know about. He's the type of guy that they send in to do that. He's been in it. He's been in it maybe too long. He's a bit over the hill, which has to do with why he might be, as a character, why that priest is selected to do his part in what happens in the story.
Mm-hmm. No, I know Jessica would have had it worse with the contacts, but what was it like to have the one contact in, the black contact?
Well, see, I'm really terrible with stuff like that. I mean, it was hopeless for me to try to put that contact in myself. I mean, because I don't come from a goth scene or anything like that, so I don't know much about putting contacts or other attachments on myself or anything like that. So I had to have some of the other girls on set help me with that, because if I tried to put that thing in my eye, I would probably just poke my own fucking eye out. So yeah, so I chickened out. Had I think it was Batania. In the film, there's the scene with the nurse. I'm sure you remember it.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that was able to put the contact in, and then there was some pickup shots that we did that my fiance Jackie, she put the contact in on some pickup shots that we did later on at Stephen's apartment. But yeah, I didn't trying to put that thing in. I couldn't do it myself.
Yeah, I didn't think the Solera contacts would be such a problem, because I had a pair and I'd wear them to conventions and parties and orgies, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, and Jessica could slip hers in and out actually rather quick. I mean, she never wore them before, but they would go in and out. And the most problem we had with anybody with the contacts was the last priest, David McMahon. And he had the smallest ones because they were just white out.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to stick them in him, and he's like, you got fat fingers. I'm like, yeah, I know. Let me get this, And of course, luckily, Batania came in and put him in for him. But yeah.
His were the ones that his contacts were the ones that you couldn't see out of, right? So when he had them in,
he couldn't
blind
see
with those in. Yeah. With the one that I had, it was black, but it had the pinhole in it to where I could actually still see out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one advantage I had. I mean, it was what it was. I mean, it's part of the job, but it's just as far as that dainty shit of trying to stick a contact in my eyes, because I don't wear contacts. I don't know nothing about using all that saline solution and all that other shit. So I was just horrible with it, and I didn't want to like poke my eye out, so I did it. But I could completely sympathize with anybody else on the set or any film that has to deal with that shit. That it is a bit of a thing to learn, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the cool thing is the guy who actually hand painted those contacts.
Mm-hmm.
He's the same guy who does the contacts for The Walking Dead and Ash versus Evil Dead. And he did the double pupil contact. Yeah. I mean, we all know each other. He did the double pupil and he did a triple pupil. And I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what we need for the Unholy Trinity. I'm like, yeah, baby, have these ever been used? He's like, no one's ever used them.
And I'm like, I had never seen those before. I loved them.
And the monkey.
Yeah. I'm like, boom. Nobody can use these now. They're ours forever. And that's why, we tried to get more camera work because I'm like, these contacts cost quite a bit. And I'm like, let's milk these contacts for all we got because, every minute they're on screen, I get to deduct $10.
Nice.
That's
really I mean,
worth your money though, because they were really cool. I had never seen contacts like that.
Yeah, and the shame of it is because it's like 3 acts, 3 different priests, and this could be considered a spoiler alert, so hold your ears, and there's 3 aspects of the possessed, because each act she's possessed by another demon. Mm-hmm. So by the 3rd act, there's 3, and that's why she's the Unholy Trinity now, and that's how she could do what she did, and the 2nd act, you really can't see the contacts that well because we shot in candlelight. And the beauty of it is our DP, Chris Palubicki, he did such an amazing job lighting up the room by candles. And it gives it such an eerie feel. Mm-hmm. And originally what we were trying to do is, you remember the film Leonardo DiCaprio with The Revenant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember how some of that camera work, it made the woods seem like spooky times 10?
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to have that happen whenever they would walk into the room with the possessed, to where the lens was just a little bit wider than normal. But it didn't, it didn't happen. But the camera work is phenomenal. I mean, it was just a 2-person crew. Scott Allen Warner, he's the grip from hell, and Chris Palubicki. I mean, they did an amazing job. I mean, it was a bare bones cast. It was bare bones, people on set. I mean, I was the director, the second unit director. I mean, I wore so many friggin' hats. I don't ever want to do that again. Because I'm running around looking for the golden Bible of Antioch because somebody moved it. I'm like, we need that. Where's this? And then do it all that,
well, not only that, but you still had to run the company while all this was going on too. So there was a lot of times that you had to not be present because you had a million other things you had to do that weren't even on the set. So that goes back to what I was talking about, to where everybody had to basically kind of like cover for each other and get the shit done.
Yeah, we were a very tired, exasperated, yet happy and thrilled cast and crew. Because while we were shooting it, when Jessica was vomiting out her guts, and we're watching it on the monitors, and we're just like, oh my goodness. They're like, oh wow, this is working. Oh my goodness. So So it's really cool. It's got it's yeah. We're really happy.
Yeah. Does anyone or even yourself think at some point to cut that scene down, because it does go a long time, but in my opinion, it totally works in the movie. But I can see some people think, oh, it doesn't need to go on quite as long as it does.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Serjan Spasajevic, the director of a Serbian film, right?
Mm-hmm.
I gave him a copy, and he watched it. And then next time we were hanging out, smoking cigars, drinking Jägermeister, he's like, "So I watched your movie." I'm like, "What'd you think?" He's like, "It's better than Blade Runner 2049. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, that's all pretty and stuff." But he's like, "I was watching it, and when Jessica starts vomiting, he's like, this is how he put it. He's like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay. And then he's like, it's going on a little bit too long. Oh, wait. Oh, hey, wait a minute. It is going on too long. Yes. And he said he stood up, and he was like, bravo, Stephen Biro.
Yeah, that was.
And the funny thing is,
scene, I think.
Yeah, I figured the end is what would get people, because that's like our chase scene, our action-packed chase scene at the end. And the middle, that's our, like, the loop-de-loop. Because, like, if you look at it like a roller coaster, it's like goes spins and turns and starts doing the loops. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the vomit scene is uncomfortable for some people, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And others, I mean, because I've been doing the film festival circuit for a while, and we had a premiere here in LA with it. And oh my God, it was a packed premiere, and the people got everything. They were laughing, they were clapping, they were they were enjoying every moment. And because I've shown it all over the place, and like in Sidge's, it was dead quiet. Really Catholic country. It was dead quiet, and people were afraid to look at me when they walked out. And then, Texas Frightmare, people were getting the stuff, and there is comedy hidden in there, but it's for the gorehounds. It's like, to where they get it. And yeah, so it's always fun to hear, the people cry out in joy. Because nobody's done, that's the crazy thing, is nobody's done a gory exorcism movie. I still can't believe, since when the Exorcist come out? 74, 73?
73
and
74.
Yeah, and people have done tons of exorcism movies, but no one's gone like full on. So I think that'll work in our favor as time goes on.
I definitely agree. And I was real quick about Serjan, because I've had him on the show. As far as I know, is the only podcast he's done, which is cool. But anyway, I've got like death threats actually from the interview on YouTube. People saying whoever likes the show should be shot in the head. And actually, recently when I was sharing your when you had the auction on my group, and one of the guys was in there for a long time. He straight out said that I was a pedophile for liking the movie, and then he ended up leaving the group and stuff. I was just like shocked that anyone, especially someone who watches movies, would think something like that. It's really crazy.
It's a fucking movie with cops. Grow the fuck up.
Right.
That's all you need to tell these people, man.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. We're doing a re-release of it. We're actually doing an extended cut of it, and they're working on the documentary of it. Because it's amazing film, came out of nowhere. People weren't expecting it, and people. That's why we got banned on eBay from the auctions.
Yeah,
so that sort of sucked.
Similar to the Song of Solomon, I like it better on repeat viewing, because maybe for different reasons. But when I watch it the first time, you really just focus on like the crazy, shocking scenes. But then when you watch it again, you notice like it's a really well-made movie. really well acted, and there's a lot more to it than just the crazy scenes. Not that they're not cool too, but
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I wrote it on purpose for it to be repeated, and repeated viewings, just because that's the cool part where you actually want to watch a movie, twice, 3 times. Yeah. I remember Jim Van Beber told me he watched Bouquet of Guts and Gore 25 times. He put that in the interview. Right? And I've had fans and friends come back and, dude, I've watched Bouquet 35 times. I'm like, awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
And go ahead.
I was just saying his Jim's scene of ripping his eyes out. Well, I hate this one movie, but he is awesome, and he really goes all out in the selling of I don't want to say Scream Queen, Scream King, I guess, in the movie, because he's really selling like what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, I mean when he screamed,
yeah,
everybody just stopped in the whole house, and everybody just took a step back and said, "Holy shit." Because I've never heard Jim scream like a woman before.
Yeah.
he didn't scream like a woman, but I want to use that. My friend is supposed to make that into a ringtone for me.
That would be totally badass.
And I love that there's the dead priest just laying around throughout the movie too. I get a big kick out of that. As far as like comedy goes, for me that works as comedy. Like later on, just seeing him there and he's like still a little bit kicking, just kind of laying in the corner.
Yeah, it's like I've had people who've seen it joke and they're like, how many dead priests can you fit in a room? I don't know. Watch the Song of Solomon.
But that's part of the character with the priest character that I play. In that, when you consider the fact that in the scenes that I'm in, it's like I'm doing the pickup on the exorcism from where the previous part had left off. Mm-hmm. But all this is going on with dead priests laying around on the floor around me. But the point of the character is that he's not really bothered by that.
Yeah, he doesn't.
That's not what he's got a problem with. The fact that a couple of priests are already wiped out is not really the relevant thing there, and that's not the urgent issue there. The idea is there that it's like that there could be something wrong with this priest, that he might be more of a danger than a help. I mean, that's the idea that's supposed to be conveyed there somewhat. At least that's what I tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Yeah, you did a great job, honestly.
What the hell was I going to say? So I mean, and then all the the work is to whether or not it's like is this priest more interested in just beating the demon, whether or not the girl is actually saved? That was the question that's trying to be conveyed there in the performance, and what's going on is that this guy might be an adversary for the demon. But whether or not the person that's possessed by the demon might be in danger because of that is brought up in question. That, hey, this guy might not be good to put in this room. Mm-hmm. And I hope we pulled off some of that.
Definitely,
well, you definitely did. Yeah.
And where was the first at the beginning of the movie with all the statues and stuff? Where was that? Were those like real statues?
Yeah, that's at a place called the Warlock Mansion. And it was a crazed artist who lived there, and he built those statues, and he would actually have, not satanic, he had pagan rituals there for rich people, So a lot of rich people would go to that place, and the place is gorgeous. And, I've never been there. I know they have, after he died, his kids got the place, and they have Halloween parties there all the time. And, if you watch the outtakes reel that's on the Blue, you'll see more of the Warlock Mansion, because there's a lot more statues than what we showed. And we shot there one day, and it's like this crazy Hobbit house. And it's like, you see it when the guy's walking up to the door, And when I saw what was inside the house, because originally he was just going to, the two priests were going to be walking between the statues, you know, and talking. But when we got there and I saw the house, I was like, oh my goodness. And I looked in the doorway and I saw that stairs that looks like something out of Salvador Dali's house. I'm like, oh my God, definitely. Get the owner. I'm like, get the owner. Do you mind if we get a quick couple of shots of a priest walking down the stairs? No, go for it. And I'm like, boom, production design. We just upped our movie by what? Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that was great. I had 2 copies of the exorcism book that I got from the Vatican.
Wow.
The girl who set up that location asked for it, asked for one. I had to give it to her. I'm like, it's just too amazing. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you go about getting these books from the Vatican?
Oh, well, I just hit up the Vatican Library. And via email, and they thought I was a priest. They're like, oh, Father Biro, yes, here, we can, blah, 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 And I'm like, oh, why, thank you so much. And I'm like, hey, I need to get some new clothes. And then they put me in touch with the company in Romania that makes all the Vatican priest clothes.
Uh-huh.
So everything's 100%.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
I was buying the costumes from the Vatican company, in Romania, and they sent me, priests, and like when I was buying the sashes and stuff, I hit up eBay, and
right.
The other, the people selling them are like, oh, thank you so much, Father Biro. I hope you're blah blah blah. And I'm like, everybody thinks I'm a priest. Okay, cool. I mean, I didn't say, hello, I am Father Biro. No, they automatically assumed, because who would be buying legitimate stuff?
Right.
It's not, and I didn't want, I've seen too many movies to where it's like dime store Halloween costume. And it's like, no, let's do this real. Because I want this, if we're using, let's do this right. So we're indie, but we're going to do this friggin' stuff right. Because damn it, it's I want the movie to stand the test of time. That's the thing.
Are you going to send the Vatican a copy of the movie?
Well, I debated on it. The Catholic League, the Catholic Defamation League. I was debating on sending stuff out. That's the thing. It is 100% reality in the Christian theology, to where if the church could help, Satan be born, they would, because Jesus comes back. That's like boom, it's a tenet. I mean, that's why the creationists are wanting Israel to become the capital, because that's one step closer to relations and Jesus coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty heavy.
So what was the book that you got? What was it about?
Oh, it's actually got a card from the Pope in it that's signed. It's De Exorcismus et Supplicationibus Quibusdem, and it's 100% just the Catholic ritual on exorcism, and it's in Latin. Mm-hmm. So I had it translated, and that's what everything they're speaking is part of the ritual. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, because exorcisms do last a long time. Mm-hmm. They don't just go to a person and be like, boo boo boo, or wait, what's the exorcist line? Oh, come on, everybody knows it.
The power of Christ compels you.
Yeah, the power of Christ. Yeah. I mean, that's in here, but that is like, it's just like, oh, okay, that's the only part of the ritual they actually used. And it's like, when I came across it, I giggled, and I was like, you guys had so much, because they're talking about, dragons and this and that, and it's like, I mean, because everything
Stephen,
that just...
Stephen, the reason why they don't do it and we learned it as we were trying to learn how to do it, is that it's such a fucking mouthful of stuff to remember that when you're sitting there in candlelight looking at black fucking pages, that you ain't gonna remember all those 19-syllable words for that shit. That's why they just say, the power of Christ compels you.
That's right. Max von Sydow was like, I'm not remembering all that shit. Forget that.
But they get the big money. Come on, what the heck? But the cool thing is that the demon Jessica, she spits back lines from the Bible. Most of what she says are exact lines out of the Bible because she twists it around, and they have bearing on who the priests are, what they are, or what she's about to do to them. And I've read the Bible 3.5 times, so I wouldn't say I'm a scholar because I think you have to read it like 10 times at least to be able to say that. But I've done enough research and this and that to know that I'm like, oh, the possessed is going to spit back lines from the Bible that are just anybody. If a theologian watches this thing, they're going to go nuts. They're going to be like, oh, dude, really? And it's like, yes, 100%, because that's what a demon would do, would twist the words of God to fit their own needs. And, she even says that. And for me, when she says that, that's actually a rewindable moment for me. I'm like, oh my God, because she says it so perfect. And I'm just like, oh, if Catholics watch this or some really heavy-duty Christians watch this, they're going to flip. Because, it pulls no punches on that area. And so far, it's just been horror fans. And, a bunch of them, they're not theologians or anything. So I'm waiting till somebody of that nature gets their hands on this. Yeah. And then we're going to see outrage. It's going to be great.
I say a fan of our show, Vic Schiavone, who does our written recaps, is a hardcore Christian, and so I hope he watches this, and I'd like to see what he thinks of it. So if you're listening out there, Vic, send us a copy. Yep. I was wondering.
Pick this up. It'll be on the video scene. It's my Christian movie. That's what I was telling some of the reps that are handling it for sales, and I'm like, guys, this is my Christian movie, and there's no curse words, and there's no boobs. Sorry, that's a spoiler, but there's no boobs. So get this out and everywhere, and then they watched it.
So, Gene, what did you think when you saw the finished movie? And it's all edited together. You have the music in there, the score, and everything.
It was really cool to watch the whole thing go from the beginning of rough drafts. Because when we saw the very first like rough work print or whatever you want to call it, that literally had almost every bit of footage that was on hand compiled into like a rough version of the movie. It had every bad take. Every missed line, every missed cue, to the point where I was looking at it going that, oh my God, throw me out of this movie. I'm a fucking disaster. But then through the process of the editing and nip and tuck and this and that, and some of the pickup shots that we did to complete things, I think it sharpened up really, really well, especially with the limitations that we had, with the budgetary limitations. There's, at some point you have to stop. There's no work of art that's ever actually completed. It's only abandoned. At some point you just have to say, okay, it's done. And then after it's done, you're finished with it. Then from there, the fans own it. So I'm happy with everything that came out, everything that was all the work that everybody did to put into this. It came out the very best that we could have done, and now it's for the fans to own it, and now it's theirs.
I know some of your music's in the movie. Were you the one who picked what would be in it, or did you do new things for the movie?
It was a cocktail of people involved with the music. There was some that I did. There was somebody that had worked on, I believe, both of the previous American Guinea Pig, someone named Christian Day.
Yeah, Christian Day.
Also, another musician, Jimmy Screamer Claus, and then one of the other actors, the other priest that performed alongside of Jim Van Bebber, Scott Gabby. Mm-hmm. And I think even his girlfriend Batania might have done something too. Maybe.
Well, they were supposed to. They were trying to get some. Yeah. It was four different musicians.
And the most prominent thing of mine is that music at the end of the film. That's the one that jumps out most clearly of any of my contributions on it, was the closing credit track or whatever. But there's other little bits that are spread out throughout there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had other reviewers and other people ask. They're like, "Who did your music?" And I'm like, "These four guys." They're like, "What? 4 different guys?" It's all just blend seamlessly. They didn't even think that it would be that many different people. And I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know, we're indie."
Well, it also lended to the variation of what you get. I mean, if it would have been just one of us that would have done it, sure, it might have been good work, but we get a lot of variation with the soundtrack elements and the effect that comes from the soundtrack by the fact there was 4 different minds involved doing it. And a lot of the stuff we all did independently from each other. So we all had our own unique takes on what we thought was going to be something that would enhance the film in some way. So when it all came together and it was all edited together, you know, you get a bit of a more unique trip out of the soundtrack element that you might not have gotten from a single composer doing the entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
So did you just get lucky with the lizard, or did someone throw a lizard on one of the statues?
Oh yeah, you saw that. That was luck. No, that was a CGI lizard. That was half our budget.
Well, I didn't think CGI.
No, the lizard.
There, but it's pretty sweet that he just kind of crawls by.
The lizard comes right up as soon as they mention the demon's name. You know, they're like, "What's the demon's name?" Lizard comes right up. Boop. And the peacocks. There were peacocks floating around in there. I'm like, we got to make sure we get a peacock in the shot. And lo and behold, the peacock walked right into the shot when, you know, the 2 priests are talking. I'm like, yes, it looks like our budget just went higher. Oh, we had animal trainers for the lizard. the lizard wrangler, the peacock wrangler. You know, I mean, we got lucky and stuff. Actually, the family therapy scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with Jessica, and the script actually is missing that. And she's like, "Hey, you know, I think we should have something here to tie this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, family therapy thing." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Well, where are we going to find an actor to play the therapist?" And that's Scott Allen Warner, our grip from hell. He's like, "Oh, I act." And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, here's my reel and here's my website," and pulled it up. And I'm like, "Bam, okay, you're the family therapist." So I wrote out that family therapy scene within half an hour.
Oh, wow.
Jessica was actually like, "Oh, holy shit." I'm like, "Yeah, no, this is going to flesh out everything. Fucking Tower of Babel, fucking da-da-da, you're da-da-da-da-da-da-do." And yeah, it's just amazing. And so we shot that like right there on the cusp. Yeah. So we shot that, you know, and oh yeah, no, that gives it a punch. And, you know, I'm really glad that Jessica brought that up to me. And yeah, I was amazed that I came up with all that right on the end. But that's what helps, having a nice, you know, studying Christianity and knowing, you know, the history and the stories and stuff. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's where your mom figured out the movie.
Yeah, I don't know why, or how, but she did. It's very weird. So how about Jessica herself? Did you know her before the movie? How did she get involved?
Jessica, I've heard of her before, And I was at a horror convention, and we were on a movie panel. And it was sort of funny because everybody took up all the seats, and I get there. So all there was this merry-go-round horse. So I grab the merry-go-round horse, and I straddle it. And I'm like right in the middle of everybody. And then people, you know, are talking about the movie business and stuff. And I'm like, don't make movies, you're going to lose your ass. 95% of all movies lose their budget, their tax write-offs. And I just go on, you know, because, you know, I'm a distributor and do international. I do all this stuff. So she's sitting there listening to me. And after the panel, she comes up to my table. And she's like, so, who are you? So she sat there and picked my brains for 3 hours. And she told me what she does and stuff. And then, you know, we stayed in contact. And then when I was searching for my Mary, she's like, oh, let me try. And I'm like, here, try this out. Because I had a lot of the actresses miss the point. You know, they didn't understand that the demon has been around since the beginning of time, knows all of the future, knows all of the past. And I had indie actresses actually bow out, say, yeah, I read the script and there's no way I can do that much gore. I can't, you know, there's, you know, she's like, I'm fine with 90%, but, you know, and Jessica's like, hell no, cover me, do what you want. I'm going to nail this role. And then when she tried out for it, I was like, oh, wow, you knew exactly what I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, she was amazing on set. It was funny because people were upset at her because she always was looking at her phone. No, people didn't realize that she was actually studying the script because her dialogue is really heavy, you know. Yeah. And you know, and it's only, you know, afterwards then people are like, oh, okay, that's what they're like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, dude, her lines are like tantamount to the character. And if she doesn't pull it off, then the movie's flat, you know, because I've seen a couple of exorcism movies and yeah, the possessed are really not that eloquent.
Right.
But how you're talking to a demon, beginning of time, end of time, you know, yeah, no, of course they're going to be eloquent and they're going to know Bible scripture backwards and forwards. And they're going to be able to, you know, look into the hearts of men and tell them exactly what, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so I am thrilled with what she did.
She was great in the movie.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was her best performance. And I like that.
That was exactly what I thought, too, Neil.
Yeah, and I thought she did a really good job of playing the demon differently as the movie went on in all three acts, as you said. So
yeah, because that was the thing. Yeah, and the thing is, when we were editing the movie, the hard part was the voices, because you know my guy's like, oh hey, here, take a look at this voice, and it sounded exactly like the Evil Dead. I'm like, dude, we can't do that. Okay, and then you know, looking at all the other possession movies, they sound computer robotic in a way, you know. And I'm like, no, we got to do this. I'm like, okay, well, 3 acts, you know, demons pairing up in her. I'm like, let's go back to the simple ways and record all of her dialogue and double it up so it seems off. I mean, what did you guys think of that?
I didn't know that's what you did, but I do like the voice in the movie, and I know exactly what you said because, like, it's awesome in Evil Dead, but then when you see it in other movies, it's like it gets kind of cliche or kind of lame to have that. It's like the demon voice, you know, that you hear in everything.
Yeah, I mean those
so to have something
those
different,
kind of those kind of vocal effects like you'd have back in the original Evil Dead. I mean, they were kind of state of the art back in 1978 or 79 or 80s or whatever, all that was going down, you know, and a lot of music groups, heavy metal bands and such have used that, where there's the pitch affected voices to where it makes that kind of stacked vocal effect, and everybody's heard it so often that they've just become accustomed to it, and it's just very generic. So it was really cool to have, that layered voice where it was organic, just a stacking of the natural voice several times over, and building up like that. So you actually get like more of a disjointed element, but it's all coming from the natural sound of a voice and combination of voices at a different natural pitch without any of that kind of digital tinkering.
Oh, yeah.
Well, almost like
said, it was so subtle that I didn't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just something she had done. I didn't even realize
the devil. That's because the devil is in the details.
Exactly.
Right
You're
where I
very
like
good.
to
I'm
keep it.
impressed.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that at the third act, there's 3 voices. The third one is me.
Oh, no kidding.
Marcus is like, hey, Marcus is like, Marcus Cook, autopsy director of 100 Tears. He's like, hey, dude, you need to be the third voice in the third act. And I'm like, I don't know, and I told Jessica, and she's like, no. She's like, no, it's blah, blah, blah. But we did it, and the thing is, my voice only comes in here or there, because it's like I'm the last of the unholy trinity. So there's only, like, when something's said that's, like, needed punch, then you can hear me. But I think it sounds great just because there's multiples in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really thrilled with that. And yeah. So.
Yeah. This, again, I know we talked about the effects, but the practical effects are just so great in the movie. And, a CG blood, there's some stuff that's whatever, but like blood and fire, that's stuff that always really ruins the movie. But seeing the actual practical effects is a lot of fun. And gross, too.
Yeah. Well, that's what, I love practical. I don't want to do CGI. I mean, if I end up moving up the ladder and doing a Doctor Strange movie, oh, yeah. But,
right.
For the most part, practical effects have a weight to them. They're in the same room. There's nothing it's there. So you can see that. And yes, you can see, that it's, practical effects, but that's some of the beauty of it. And that's why, originally, I wanted to push, it's like 100% real exorcism rituals and 100% practical effects. Because that one movie, Harbinger Down, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were pushing it on hard on Indiegogo, and they got like $250,000, but, they needed people to give them another $1 million to do it, and then they found out that the Indiegogo thing is a pain in the ass because all the perks and all that stuff.
Right.
And yeah, and then they made the movie, and it's like, meh.
Yeah.
Lance Hendricks. I would love to have a budget to put Lance Hendricks in as a priest.
Yeah.
I would have, this and that. But we're indie, and we do. Yeah. If you knew the budget on Solomon, you'd be like, oh, holy crap! Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know Kevin Smith. Yeah. No.
I saw a recent independent movie with Lance Henriksen in, and they really, I won't say the movie because I did like it, but they really, pushed that Lance Henriksen was in it, and he's in it for maybe 30 seconds, and he's on a phone somewhere that's not even where anything else at the movie's taking place. And I was just like, oh my God, it did kind of.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that a couple times. Actually, I was at a house core. We were showing Bloodshock. And Bill Moseley, my table was next to Bill Moseley, and Bill Moseley comes over, and he introduced Headless, and then he knew he was supposed to introduce Bloodshot, but I don't know what happened. But he watched the movies, and he's just pissed off. He's like, "What the hell? You guys are making these type of movies for that kind of budget? How the hell am I supposed to make a living and doing acting and da 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 boo da ba dee ba doo ba doo?" And I'm just like, "Oh, dude," I'm like, "Yeah, Well, you got to change with the times, and, with the amount of technology that's available at our fingertips and this and that, we can pull off stuff.
Boy needs to adapt to survive or just get the fuck out.
No, he's doing great doing the cons all the time. I mean, he's at every con, and I mean that's a great paycheck, and it's just like work for the weekend, and so you can sit around, and and then he gets a real a zombie movie, and then suddenly boom, that's a damn good paycheck, and he chugs stuff out every 2 or 3, 4 years or whatever, I mean they're making Devil's Rejects sequel now.
Yeah,
and it's got our boy Bill Oberst Jr. in it. He's in a movie called Dis that we're putting out. Yeah, he's a good guy. We're putting out a movie called Dis that he stars in, and it's really extreme film. Yeah, really extreme film, gorgeously shot. Actually high budget for independent. So we're going to be announcing that with the Red Band trailer soon.
Very cool.
Yeah, we got so many movies we're going to be announcing soon. This is going to be a fun year for Unearthed.
Very cool. And Unearthed Films, where can you find Unearthed Films for people who are unaware? I guess you can just Google it now that you said it, but.
Oh yeah, Unearthed Films, unearthedfilms.com, facebook.com/Unearthed Films. I mean, we're Twitter, Instagram, our Tumblr. I mean, the social media thing.
Yeah.
Thank God I have a media specialist who helps me out, Susie Ayala. She's wonderful. She helps me with all that stuff, and even Gene helps out here because he's amazing too.
Yeah, I was just saying, Jessica really put Gene over on the Blu-ray, saying that he was really good at social media. That she was impressed by his social media skills.
Oh yeah. No, I think she was bitching about actors who don't follow through on promoting their own work. And it's like nowadays, because so much stuff's coming out, music-wise, concert-wise, big budgeted movies, concerts, video games. Oh my God, it's like sensory overload that if everybody is not pitching in, helping to push and market the movie, then they're dead weight. You're dead. Gone. No, not to work with you again.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, it's like you have to take ownership of the production. No matter what level it is that you're involved in, if you're going to put your name on it, you need to take ownership of it somehow, in some way, in whatever way that you can to make, to give it the best foot forward wherever you want it to go. So yeah, you do have to learn in this modern times. You do need to learn how to work things in a social media forum, through emails, through video, whatever the hell you're able to do. To be able to give a shot for whatever your project is.
Yeah, because it just only helps yourself. Because you're getting out there. You're in the movie. It's like, hey, be proud. Push this fucker.
Yeah.
Let's take over the world for a little bit until everybody's like about the new Halloween movie and whether or not it's going to suck or not.
So, are you looking forward to the new Halloween movie, by the way?
I couldn't care less. I mean, I've seen so many Halloween movies that I don't care.
Honest answer, though.
Yeah, well, I'm an honest guy. Christian,
I don't really sweat the Halloween movies. I mean, for me, if we're talking about the Halloween movies, we're talking about John Carpenter movies. I mean, I was more impressed with The Fog or The Thing or Christine, for that matter. I thought those were just all around better films on every level. And to me, that sure, there's a fan base, there's a following for that series, but I mean, as far as films go, I thought some of other John Carpenter movies far exceeded anything that was done in any of those Halloween movies.
Yeah, I mean, and the new Halloween, I think
a new one. It's like, do we need it? I'm not going to worry about it, but did we really need it? I mean, maybe it'll be good. I mean, it might be entertainment, but I think there's a lot of other stories out there that could make great films instead of just regurgitating more chapters out of old franchises.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think, like, there's tons of really good movies back out there that could use a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Not a remake, a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Suspiria.
Mm-hmm.
It looks interesting. I do want to see it. Halloween, I'll wait till it's Redbox. But it's usually pretty quick. And it's $1.50.
Yeah.
Suspiria remake, I don't know. I mean, I saw the trailer. Looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, how the heck can you remake Suspiria, really? It's just I mean, and the thing is, Suspiria is disjointed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's pretty, it's colorful. There's times where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Huh? What?
It's not a movie you watch because of the plot. It's really a movie you watch just to look at, really, and then listen. It's more like the atmosphere of the movie.
Right. I mean, the one that I love the best out of Italy, it's Demons. First one. Mm-hmm. Just because that's like more of what I look for in a movie, to where it's almost like a roller coaster. To where it's like, boom, and it's up and down and around. The effects are just outrageous, and it's like, I know they spent a lot. That's the thing. They were spending a lot more money on movies back in those days, because you could make a lot of money back then, and that's why there was this resurgence. Because you notice in Italy, it's almost dead. When have you seen a big budgeted film come out of Italy?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Nothing, yeah, so there's, I mean, Dario Argento and Iggy Pop did a Indiegogo, got $125,000 4 years ago. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So basically they ripped shit. Tom Savini and Sergio Claudio Metti, something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a City of the Walking Dead Indiegogo. Mm-hmm. Got like $120,000. Yeah, and that was the same time, nothing. So, and that's the only bad thing, is that people have done the Indiegogo thing and people have gotten ripped off really heavily. So it's affected all of us from doing that. I mean, that's why I use Indiegogo when we have a finished product. Yeah, and like basically with Solomon, yeah, because they know it's done. But still, I made everybody wait a year because we were still doing color correction and sound design and blah, blah, blah. But they knew it was done, And it's hurt us in a way, because I'd love to do an Indiegogo with nothing except just a plan. And be like, hey, guys, boo, 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 ba, ba, bee, and then they're throwing cash at me. And then I can make the movie. Not anymore. Now it's like we got to have the movie finished. And then we can do that, to try to recoup the budget. And we got close. But luckily, because I do international sales, we sold it to Germany so far. France is supposed to buy it for a decent amount. I'm happy. Same thing with Germany. I'm happy with that. And Japan, they're slow. I was hoping to get this through Arrow in the UK. But there, things are happening over there to where things are changing. So we'll see. Next thing, I'm trying to get Solomon out to like everywhere, but make sure I don't get ripped off, because the second batch, when you make a movie, amazing. But then when you release the movie, that's when the sharks start taking bites. And that's when people get ripped off. And that's when lawsuits happen. Because we're in the middle of a lawsuit right now. I won't tell you who.
All right.
Yeah, I won't tell you who, but we're doing it on behalf of a filmmaker that was on your podcast before.
Okay. Like, it
doesn't
matter.
See?
But it's. I'll ask you after.
Yeah. So, see, that's you got to pay attention to the dialogue, because it comes back. Yeah. So I'm really thrilled that you guys have dug Solomon. I really appreciate the help and the push. Thank you guys for the review.
Oh, yeah.
I apologize that one of my actors bitched at you about it.
It's all right. It's fine. Then it happened. It happened twice that week. Not twice from the same movie, but then another actor.
Week, Neil, as far
as I blame Jason because he wrote both the reviews. I had nothing to do with him. But no, I don't want to throw him under the bus. We have different opinions. So yell at me about it. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But so, and I felt that it should be honest. If you just say you love everything, what's the point of reviewing anything?
Yeah, no, exactly. No, you got to pull out the things because otherwise, how the fuck do we get better?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, never be afraid of what you're going to say in a review. Never be afraid of that because, like I said, after we finish a project, after any type of work is done, it's owned by the fans. It's owned by anybody. Yep. Anybody that takes it after we've done our work, they can say whatever they want with total freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just got to learn to bite your tongue. I mean, the best review for Bouquet of Guts and Gore came from Arrow in the Head. Oh my God, it was a 1-star review.
Oh,
and the guy's like, I've been to film school and I know what a movie is supposed to be like, and this is not a movie. This is an atrocity. What the hell is that? Oh, it was awesome, and I shared that as much as I could. And I actually went back to share it again. The review was gone. I was like, I should have took a screen grab just because I would have framed it and put it on my wall. And I guess because there's such a high turnover rate of free writers everywhere, because I don't know many that are getting paid. Right. And the ones that I do know that are getting paid are getting fired. So I'm guessing he left, so they probably pulled all of his reviews because it was glorious. Oh, he called me so many names. It was awesome. So I apologize. I told the actor, hey, what the hell? I'm like, delete this thing. And don't do this again because we're going to go into the microscope because we just put out an outrageous exorcism film that's independent. And, we don't have Max von Sydow and we don't have Bill Moseley. And we have us. Okay, so stand by it.
I actually like the movie.
Yeah, I think he...
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, he did like... Yeah. And,
that's... Yeah, it's like... Yeah, I read it as a positive.
Mm-hmm.
It was just an actor panties in a bunch. And I think this will be his first real thing that's going out that's going to get a lot of traction because, it's an exorcism film and everybody knows it's gory. How the hell, as a horror fan, can you not want to watch it?
Yeah.
Really, that's it.
I agree
on that one.
Yeah, he's got to get some thicker thing, because have you guys seen Shark Exorcist?
I have seen the Shark
Exorcist.
Yes. I can't say I'm a huge fan of Shark Exorcist, but I've seen it. I did think there was a good line though. There was a couple good lines in it. I think there could have been some better lines in it, but yeah, I've seen Shark Exorcist.
I haven't. I just saw the trailer, but I know Donald Plummer, and he's a great guy.
The poster's great. The poster's great.
That is a great poster.
Oh, poster is great. The poster is great. I think the same guy, he did House Shark, so that's out. And I know Marcus Cook.
I love too.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is.
Our
Shark.
It's Dick Shark too, I believe.
Ghost Shark, Sand Shark. Oh yeah, Dick Shark. Oh, that's search for it. But you would have to see it's Beelzebub. He's got a movie called Ant Farm Dickhole.
That makes me uncomfortable, just the name.
Ant Farm Dickhole. And I've been at a convention to where a guy was selling Ant Farm Dickhole across from me. And everybody that comes by, if they didn't buy anything from Unearthed, I'm like, okay, if you don't buy anything from me, you got to go buy Ant Farm Dickhole. And they're like, Ant Farm Dickhole? And they're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Get Ant Farm Dickhole. So I helped the guy sell at least 3 or 4 copies at that convention.
That was your good deed.
And I watched that one. I watched it.
Sounds like a really unpleasant form of sea monkeys.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it is. It is because they're bigger than sea monkeys. I tell you, I mean that's.
Go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, the state of the horror industry is really weirdly in flux now, and I know, am I right or am I right? It's like because there's no video stores anymore. Mm-hmm. Nobody's doing really the VOD because everybody thought the VOD was going to be the savior.
Right.
There's only Redbox out there. There's no video stores left, and nobody wants to go. I mean, I'm out here in LA now, and I went to some amazing video stores. They got some amazing stuff to rent, and I'm like, shit. If I rent this, I'm gonna have to come back the next day and return it.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a statement of how lazy we've become.
It is, no, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, and I used to love doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the greatest thing ever.
It was the great, you go, I would travel an hour and a half to go to video stores just to see what they had, and they had some amazing stuff. Jungle Holocaust. I'm like, a cannibal film I haven't seen. Yes, I'd rent it, and then I'd buy it from them. Because you could buy the tapes for $50.
Right.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. And nowadays,
case, that's all you really.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I had one of the bigger bootleg operations here back in 1997. Video Mayhem of Florida, and I would trade tapes with Sean Lewis, who used to run Blackest Heart Media, which was bootleg, but he switched it to Ebon Press, to where he does comic books now, and Rotten Cotton.
Yeah, I know him exactly.
Yeah, we're like the old school guard, the independent old school guard, and Chaz Ballin we were friends with, and he used to bootleg stuff, and he was the guy reviewing the movies. And but back then,
Maniac comics, by the way. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Oh yeah, that's I was supposed to sell him the Brain Damage rights to do comic books.
Oh, wow. Sweet.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, but but keep that in mind because future stuff.
Yeah, I'd be totally geeked for that.
Yeah.
You say, if you read between my lines and you go back and listen to this podcast again, you're going to be like, oh shit, Biro's doing that? Oh, that's what he meant there? That's, it's the same thing just like my movies,
I was just going to say that. But it's repeat
all these little, little subtleties you got to pick up on.
that's so the industry is sort of in the toilet, and it's like, you really got to make something really damn good to stand out and to get people hyped. Right. And, and as you noticed, luckily we hit that with the Song of Solomon.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that with the guinea pigs too, because we got our fan base, but the fan base is growing now, because we're picking up, we're with Unearthed, we're putting out a bunch of Japanese horror movies now. We haven't made the announcements yet. I mean, we have like 13 new films we haven't announced yet.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! That's sweet.
All up and down the budget, Some will be Redbox worthy, some will be Showtime worthy, and others. Oh yeah, no, actually, we're getting our hands on a couple of movies I can't even put into the distribution retail channels.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be called. We're starting up a new label called Too Extreme for Mainstream. You can only buy them from us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that already. Yeah, just the thought of that sounds great.
Oh yeah, because we do the guinea pig movies, we do the the vomit gore movies, Aftermath. We put out some really crazy stuff. So if I say this is too extreme for mainstream. Yeah, it should perk some ears up. Because they're like, wait, what? Unearthed, what? No, there was actually a fisting video as an extra in one of his box sets, and that's illegal in the U.S. So what the hell is he gonna? What the hell are they doing? You know, what the hell are they putting out? So it's gonna be a fun year to see how everything goes. I really appreciate you guys helping, pushing, promoting. It
cool.
means the world to us, you know. Well, good. We're independent guys, and I also don't know how long your podcast lasts.
Well, we won't go forever, but it's a cool time to wrap it up. But I appreciate you guys coming on, and it'd be fun to have you guys back anytime. You can come on, talk about stuff from Unearthed.
Yeah,
Gene can come on, talk about if he's got something cool coming up, whatever you guys want.
Oh, Gene's got all sorts of. He's doing concerts. Yeah, he's doing concerts. You know, he's probably working on some new albums.
Some acting stuff, though.
Oh well, yeah, that's the thing.
It was impressive, though. Just really, really powerful performance. Definitely want to see more from him.
Thanks a lot.
Oh yeah, no, he's got the look too.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, because I've been telling Gene for the past couple of years if I can ever get him into a Nazi uniform.
For a movie or just like for a weekend?
Just for
a movie. No, not just for fun. For a movie. Come on, me and Gene already figured out something for the future. Need a bigger budget, but we'll see what happens because things are now starting to swarm around us, so that's a good thing.
Very cool. I just wanted to say, Perdition Temple, the band he's part of, is our music of the month. So all month we're showcasing his tunes.
Oh, too cool. Man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the support with that too, man. That's really great, man.
Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let you guys go. It's been awesome to talk to you guys.
Yeah, but we'll.
Okay, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, and you guys all have a good night.
Thanks, you too. And check out the movie. It's awesome. The Song of Solomon, which I didn't know was a real thing, by the way. I had to look. I googled it.
What, you didn't?
Some stuff from this one.
I don't know about Christianity or religion. So maybe you've converted me. I'm going to start studying religion, all because of the Song of Solomon.
Oh yeah, next thing you know, you're reading the Bible and you're going to be like, "Damn it, Biro."
I'm going to learn Latin now, thanks to you.
I am going to learn Latin. They used to teach Latin in my junior high. I don't think they do anymore at the school there, but.
Yeah, no, they say it's a dead language, but you know. Okay, guys, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a great night. Thanks. We'll talk soon.
All right.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right.
See you.
Bye.
Hello, I'm John Evernold, director of Baskin, and you're listening to Without Your Head.